Welcome, y'all.
Hey, Jessie.
Hey.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to camera switch, and I'm not used to that. We don't have a camera switcher today.
Multitasking.
How are you?
Very good. How's it going?
It's going good. Who did you bring?
Me? It's me today? Oh, I have McKenna.
Hi.
Lovely McKenna. And the lovely Shell.
Hello.
And Michelle's going to tell the story.
Yes, I'm very
I
excited.
am.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing good. I want you to know that I took this assignment that I volunteered for very, very seriously. So
And
I was finishing it up like this morning.
I appreciate you so much for that. I would expect nothing less. You're such a professional. That's it.
I left it until the very last minute, but I did it, and
It's done,
good.
and here we
Yes.
are. Okay. I feel like, does everything sound okay to y'all? I feel like something's not right.
I feel like I'm a little loud.
You feel like you're a little loud?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll adjust as we go.
Okay. Thank you.
First and foremost, we have set a date and scheduled a meet and greet at Sugarfield Spirits in Gonzales, Louisiana. You can Google it if you want to know where it is. Please come. I think we're going to do it like 2 to 5 or 3 to 6, something like that. If you need any other info, just reach out to me, Tammy at gritswithasideofmurder.com. Anything new that y'all can think of that you want to?
Not too much. I'm looking forward to your meet and greet.
I am too.
It's going to be fun.
I'm going to bring stickers to the meet and greet. I'm going to bring
Koozies.
koozies.
All the koozies.
I'm going to bring magnets. I just got magnets in.
What?
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't want to know.
As a matter of fact, over there on your desk, Michelle, I put some out to remember to give y'all.
Ta-da.
Okay.
Thank you.
Love it.
I don't stress about this. And I'm stressing because I'm camera switching. So forgive me in advance. There's my camera because I don't normally do this, y'all.
Well, I don't normally do this. I usually get to sit and listen and comment. So I'm excited that I get to tell the story today.
Whenever you're ready, take it away.
So I wanted to do a murder from my area, Northeast Ohio, Cleveland area. And I wanted to find a woman for, our good old Stump, because he loves a female killer.
Hey, stop.
What we have is the story of Martha Wise.
W-I-S-E?
Yes.
Okay.
She was born in 1884. Some other important events that went on in 1884. On March 27th through the 29th of 1884, there were the Cincinnati riots. In May 1st, we had our 8-hour workday first proclaimed by the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Union, which sounds bad, but it was good.
So 8 hours, was that shortening it for them?
Shortening.
From like 12 or so,
Yeah,
probably.
however many they made
Okay.
you work.
That's cool.
And the Washington Monument was completed that year on December 6th.
Nice.
So I looked up all that stuff for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Facts.
She said she took it serious.
Yes. And in 1884, Martha Wise was born in Hardscrabble, Ohio, which sounds
Hardscrabble.
totally made up, but it is a
Very
real
fake.
place. It's a
Hard
hamlet.
game of Scrabble.
Well, Scrabble's hard for me. So, I mean,
Same.
I mean,
I can't spell. Can't spell. Autocorrect be giving up on me sometimes because I don't know how to spell.
It's a hamlet in the farming community of Medina County, which is about 35 miles away from the glorious city of Cleveland.
nice.
Martha was born into a hard life. When I first started researching this, I was kind of intrigued just by the bit of the sensationalism in what I read. But the more I learned about it, the more I was like, oh, this is kind of a sad story.
I feel like 1884, everyone was born into a hard life.
Right?
It's so hard. No,
It's not
life.
the time to
That's
be
it.
born.
It's so hard.
Everybody was struggling, especially Martha. She had 3. It says it was either 4 siblings or 3 siblings, but she definitely had 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
And she was born into struggling farmers. Even by hard Scrabble standards at the time, they had a rough life. Martha lived an unfair life. She was born to Wilhelm and Sophie Ginkel Hazel. I don't know how that's pronounced, so
Living in
we're guessing.
Scrabble?
In hard Scrabble. This was fun. Words are going to be hard for this. And for all accounts, they were poor farming folk. So she was described as slow, sickly, markedly morbid, and victim to bullying by those around her, especially her family.
She had all the hardship.
Yeah, she was not they said that she was not an attractive child or woman. She had a pinched face, a sallow, figure on her face. So yeah, she got bullied a lot by everybody. A lot of her issues suggested that she had undiagnosed epilepsy, and there was also a severe adolescent bout with spinal meningitis.
Maybe she might have been on the spectrum, too, from what you're saying.
I would think so. The townsfolk said she had a cluttered brain.
Oh, yeah.
And she ended up growing into, like, the town hysteric, full-fledged hypochondriac, possibly Munchausen syndrome, I believe, because Dr. Henry John Abel of Lakewood, who ended up testifying later in her trial, said that he'd been treating her for imaginary illnesses since she was 14. She came in one day complaining of like a sore arm, and he removed the bandage and saw that she had just like dyed her arm with Easter egg dye.
Town hypochondriac.
100%.
Oh man.
She also ended up having a reputation for a very odd hobby. She loved going to funerals.
Oh.
When she went, it wasn't just
I don't
like
even know what to say about that.
That's dark.
So like she didn't even have to know them. She
Nope.
just went.
no.
Did she
didn't
just
even
like
know.
wearing black?
Looking through the paper for like
She went
people's
to every
obituaries.
single funeral. She never missed one.
Girl, no.
And not just attended. She didn't just sit in the back quietly and like observe and be respectful. When she went, she was full on weeping and wailing. Even if she didn't know him, it was just, why, God? Why? Like disrupting the whole thing.
Drama queen.
Big time. And it kind of makes sense because, she lives in Hardscrabble and her life really sucks. So here's like, she's not getting invited to the parties or anything like that. And funerals are pretty open events.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Like, were they not inviting her to shit because she was kind of
Weird.
cuckoo for Cocoa
She
Puffs?
weird because they wouldn't
But
let
like,
her go.
is she going to the parties after? Because people celebrate funerals. Like, is she going to get a little plate after?
Just the funeral.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
sorry.
Just the funerals.
Okay,
She
all right.
liked the nice flowers, the music, people dressing nice, speaking well of
Crying.
loved ones. And to be fair,
The death.
there's not a whole lot to do in Medina County now. So I can't imagine like the social scene from Medina County in the early 1900s, 1920s. So, right. And some people say that the death of her husband sparked her love of funerals, but he died in 1923, and by that time, she hadn't missed a funeral in the area in 20 years.
So she
That is dedication.
Despite the fact that she was the town cuckoo, she did get a husband. It sounds like
She did. Martha ended up leaving school at 14 and started working in different houses and just living her life. And she ended up going to a box social where you make like a picnic lunch and then guys bid on it. And apparently she was quite the cook. She won this gentleman over with some chicken sandwiches. This dude was Albert
I do love a
Wise.
good chicken sandwich.
I know chicken sandwiches give you PTSD now.
I know. I do like
So his name was
That
Albert.
makes me pretty happy.
Yep. So we've got Albert Wise. He was a farmer. He was, even by the town standards, a bit of a hard ass.
Doesn't know his chicken.
He was also 20 years older.
Oh my!
Yeah. So
Okay,
I mean,
look, he just bought a wife, is what he did with
Yeah.
that town bid on the basket thing.
Here, take my goat.
Essentially,
Come to my house and make me all the sandwiches.
And by this point, Martha's 20-something years old. She is clearly not getting any better offers. So, yeah, she thought maybe
Gotcha.
this would be a way out of her poverty at home
Okay.
from her bullying family. Albert had a 50-acre farm. And he was known as a thankless drudge and didn't even buy her a wedding ring, which kind of sets up the tone for their entire marriage.
Piece of shit.
She gonna poison him.
Albert did.
And Will, because she making all his food.
Albert
Drop.
didn't want a wife. Albert wanted a worker.
Yeah, okay.
So-
he wanted a slave, basically.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
Martha is in there cleaning, but Martha was also expected to plow fields. She was expected to work outside along everybody else. She was known as shamefully as the only woman in town who had to slop hogs, even when she was pregnant.
Wow.
So
And you just answered my next question, which is, did they have any children?
She did.
So they
had
did at least have
5
sex
children.
5 times.
Yes. She said that all she ever did
Said at least 5
was
times.
work. Yep. She would work and have babies and go back and work. She was working or baking or cleaning or having babies.
Ooh,
So-
no.
And they were
baby.
together for
Oh,
like
no.
15 years. So this is just...
That's gross.
Yeah, it's just a really sad life. She left one sad life to go to another sad life.
Oh,
And not only
Martha.
that, Albert liked to beat the crap out of her too.
Oh.
Look, I mean, not
So-
to be on the killer side, but like, ma'am. I
Yeah,
understand.
well, sometimes we do have episodes where you wind up being
You have
on
to
like,
be.
like, I understand why you ended up being how you were.
Poor, simple, ugly Martha is just living a horrible life. But in 1923, things start looking up. Albert suddenly dies. The official...
shock.
Just suddenly.
Right? The official cause is of an infected arm. And yes, they later
Okay.
did kind of realize, maybe. But at this point, not so much. He left her the farm and $1,800, which isn't bad, but she's still a woman at this point. So she, is kind of screwed. She was also giving charity by other church groups, which
Okay,
comes
good.
into play later.
Okay.
And around this time, after his death, Martha's behavior just starts getting off the rails. She's roaming around the countryside at night. She's appearing unexpectedly, eyes rolling around, foaming at the mouth, which is probably due to the undiagnosed epilepsy. But she's barking like a dog.
So people think
she's-
she has a demon?
They just
They
think
just think she's weird.
Yeah,
She's
they just think
crazy.
she's the town nut job.
Yeah, like her. She
Don't look at her. Don't make eye
Exactly.
contact.
She thinks she's
You'll
seeing the
catch
devil
the
all the
cuckoo.
time. She thinks she's possessed. She tells her family that she's having hallucinations about seeing birds and angels, white doves, all this stuff. She didn't tell them, however, that she was also starting fires around the neighborhood. She burned like several barns down, and she was also stealing like other people's jewelry and farm implements and stuff. So that was Martha's hobby at night. Day, she liked to go to
little
funerals.
pickpocket.
Fuck, Martha.
Yeah.
A little pickpocket. And
Martha
go.
liked to burn shit.
I mean,
down.
torment the whole town.
She
They
said,
were all mean. You were all mean to
If
me.
I ain't happy, ain't nobody gonna be happy.
And you
Literally.
will
I'm
not
ugly,
be.
you ugly.
literally.
Let's go.
What SpongeBob said, I'm ugly and I'm proud.
So, actually, at least 10 fires were linked to her, and
Jeez.
she did later confess and say that the devil made her do it.
Of course.
See? Demons. They be getting you.
She's pulling a book out. She's
Yeah.
about to reference
I
something.
do. I have a fun quote from Martha herself.
Okay,
I
tell
saw
That's
her
what
little
you
book
needed the
tabs.
sticky notes for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her little sticky notes.
Oh, yeah. I was an overachiever in some classes. So she says, some of the fires I started at night. Some of them I started in the daytime after the devil had told me at night to do it. I was afraid to go out at night. I always saw him when I did, and he always told me something new to do. I didn't think about the fires killing anybody at first, but later I knew they might. That's when I started out to set them at night so I could surprise people. I never stayed at the fires. No, I slipped away to a hiding place and watched them blaze and crackle and burn.
Damn it, girl.
She
Right?
watched them
Martha.
She watched them become a rotisserie chicken.
Martha.
She really wanted people to have pain and suffering.
Yeah.
She wanted to watch it.
She was
too.
not happy, so nobody else was gonna be.
There was a lot going on with Martha. Definitely. However, around this time, there's also some scandalous tea going on around about
Ooh,
Martha.
No
Spill
tea, no
it.
shade.
Martha apparently is sleeping around. She has a couple of gentleman callers, a couple of trysts, but ends up especially surrounding neighboring farmhand Mr. Walter Johns, who is 20 years her Jr.
Oh.
Dang, babe.
I also heard he was married, but I couldn't find that in anything other than one source.
She was throwing that V all over the place.
Yes, indeed. Now, the ladies who were doing the church donations started talking to Martha's mother, Sophie, and her uncle Fred, Fred Ginky. That's the name that we're sticking with. I'm leaning into that pronunciation.
While she's saying names.
And they said that the donations that they were giving Martha, she was giving to like her little boy toy and whoever she's screwing around with. I'm guessing not the most upstanding citizens are going to be want to bang the town weirdo.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
That was good.
oh my god. Anyway,
After that interruption.
Sorry, people.
so they're talking to. Totally lost my spot.
That's
Hold
okay.
on.
You were
Sorry.
telling us all about her little boy toys.
All right.
And how
So-
the church was
So
giving her
Sophie
stuff.
and Uncle Fred are hearing about this.
Yeah.
And they put their foot down and they're telling her, look, you have to end this with Mr. Walter. This is not okay. They put the foot down and even threatened to disown her and publicly disown her and cut her out of the will. So she's already the town weirdo, and now she's going to be publicly shunned by her family too.
Shame.
No money.
Yeah,
Shame.
exactly.
Shame.
So she
For
cries
shame.
and she rants and she raves, but eventually she gives up. And after that, Walter ends up heading to Cleveland, and they, never to hear from again.
Okay.
Because I'm
So what I'm
assuming he
hearing
found the
is
magic of Cleveland
he
and
got away.
just decided what a wonderful place it was, as we all do.
That's right.
So that brings us to November 24th, 1924.
Okay.
Martha heads to
So around Thanksgiving.
yeah, it's the fall. It's a cozy time, and Martha runs over to the W.H. Weaver Pharmacy and buys 2 ounces of arsenic for mice, which is not weird because she's got a farm. She signs for it. She heads out.
It wasn't weird then.
Right? Exactly. Not bizarre at all. Several days later, it's Thanksgiving, and Martha goes to the house
put
where
him
her
in the
mom,
turkey.
it's like a double dwelling, and her brother Fred and his family live on one side, and Martha's mom, Sophie, lives on the other, and they all have dinner. Several days later, the family starts complaining about stomach pains, weakness in their legs, Sophie especially.
Yeah.
She put it in the
poisoning
turkey.
people.
I
And
mean, come on.
The whole family.
Maybe the mashed potatoes
First
was
Y'all want to
crazy.
disown me?
First of
you
all-
can't disown me if you dead.
We
Oh, you
we
thought
knew
that
this
was
was
so?
coming. We knew this was coming.
Absolutely.
She was going to do something, right? You told us right off the bat.
Right off the bat, we knew she
indeed.
was nuts.
And most of the women we talk about on the podcast do poison people.
it's a
So,
tried and true. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
They don't
it
like
really
the mess.
is.
No
It
need
is.
for
It's
the
a
mess.
clean. It's a clean. So yes, Sophie especially is having a real issue with this, and in December 13th, she ends up dying from quote influenza and stomach inflammation. Martha went to the funeral and carried on as is her.
But it
MO.
was her best performance ever.
Yeah, it was a big thing. And 2 days after the funeral, Martha's brother, Fred, and 2 other relatives become ill after drinking coffee and water.
Isn't nobody like,
Around this
Don't
time,
take
Fred is
anything from
suspicious.
her.
There's reports of after the funeral, Fred confronted her, even grabbing her and shaking her, saying she needed to mend her ways.
you
Now,
wackadoo?
Exactly. Now, whether that was about any number of her weird behavior, we don't know. Either way, Martha did not. She attended a New Year's Eve dinner at Fred's, and everybody got sick. Fred, his wife Lillian, their daughter Marie.
She said
Fred-
everybody
letting
getting
her
it.
in the kitchen.
Every
Stop letting
single
her in the kitchen.
person getting it.
Everybody.
Even Martha kind of complained that she was feeling sick too. So again, nobody thought anything weird.
She had to complain.
Yeah.
Martha's brother Fred and his son Edwin, everybody's sick. The kids, Martha's kids were there too, but Martha's kids didn't get sick, and her son Lester, the oldest, said mother told us never to drink the water at the Ginkies.
Oh my.
Girl.
So after several days of agony, Lillian, Fred's wife, ends up dying on January 4th, 1925.
Oh.
And everyone else is starting to recover, but around January 16th, Fred and his family get sick again, and so was a nurse who came by to visit the family and ended up making coffee at the house. And
She got that shit in a sugar bowl. Is what she did.
What is it in?
Right. I said, you thought that was salt? No, that's poison.
Exactly.
So Fred Sr. dies February 8th from stomach inflammation. And now around this time, police and doctors are starting to get suspicious, and they start testing everybody, and they just find a shit ton of arsenic in the samples.
We're all just dying of the same thing for no reason.
Very surprising.
It's very random.
No one saw it coming.
It's very
They're like, hey, girl,
coincidence.
we need to execute a search warrant on your cupboards.
No way. That doesn't
So,
make any
Are we going to
sense.
know by the end of the story what she put it in? Okay. All right, cool.
So in March, the investigation is going on, and the papers around are sensationalizing everything. And cops are quietly looking at Martha, and family members are talking about, like, you know, vague threats that she had made. And they're like, oh, you know, this one time she said, and they didn't think anything of it because
Yeah.
Martha's fucking crazy, so
Yeah.
who's going to listen to her? But now it starts to make sense, even to the point where an anonymous letter is sent to the prosecution saying that they need to take a look at Martha. So March 18th, Lillian is exhumed and examined, and arsenic is saturating her organs.
I just have to say, I did not know they were exhuming bodies and doing tests like that.
Early on,
That
that is
early.
surprising. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That they did that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So March 18th, she's exhumed, and Medina County Sheriff Fred Roshan talks to Martha, and she finally brings her in for questioning, and she denies it for like 2 hours. She's like, you know, in hysterics, as is her way.
Yes.
Just saying, oh no, I didn't do it. Clutching her pearls, exactly. There's no way possible.
Drama queen.
So Sheriff Roshan says, listen to the rain, Martha. Listen to the rain. You hear it pitter-pattering? You hear what it's saying? You did it. God's telling me that you did it. And Martha falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. And she finally says, absolutely, I did it. She confessed. She said she bought the poison for rats initially, but then put a pinch in her mother's water bucket at Thanksgiving and just continued doing that until she died.
Oh, my God.
Slowly over time.
She was
And
really...
just told her kids, look, they're getting...
Don't drink the water.
They're getting the water out of the shithole out back.
It's
Don't
not
drink
good.
it.
Yeah, it's gross. It's dirty. Don't drink it.
It's dirty, all right.
And that was payback for saying that she was going to get publicly disowned and cut out of the will.
Yeah.
And her brother was supposedly because he wouldn't let her use a cow anymore because hers went dry, so she was like milking theirs.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently,
whatever.
Very important in farmer etiquette. So when she was talking to the sheriff, she says that she gave like a bunch of different reasons. She said at first that Walter made her do it, and then she said the devil made her do it. And then she finally says, and what she's most famously known for is that they just didn't have enough funerals going on for her to attend.
I know you lying.
You are kidding.
You know?
Ma'am.
Yes. See a need, fill a need. That is ingenuity.
That's supply and demand right there,
Yes.
right?
Just go sit.
Let me just take
at the
this one
funeral
out
by
right
yourself.
here.
So the because of all the papers, and this is a huge deal. This is like early 20s sensationalized. All the papers in Cleveland are talking about it because Cleveland's a hip and happening city then and always. And Medina County is looked on then and always as like this like. It's ew. It's ew.
Oh, it's
so they're
ew?
like, of course this happened. I mean, look at those backwater Okies with all that.
Hard
Yeah.
scrabblers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's hard Scrabble. So, so there's absolutely a trial, even though everyone was saying, well, she's probably
She
crazy.
did it, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the doctors, however, said that she was fit to stand trial. She said she is inferior in constitution and mental grade, but she's not insane. If she killed to attend funerals, it wouldn't make her insane. It would only show a greater degree of moral turpitude.
I don't necessarily agree that she knew right from wrong. If she was seeing things and hearing things and saying the devil made her do it, I mean, what do you think?
But was she actually
Like,
doing
was she
that?
actually crazy, or was she
Yeah.
just like, I'm gonna make y'all think I'm nuts?
I
I
think
see.
she was.
Like, she had enough in there to be like, okay, if I make you think I'm extra crazy, ain't no way y'all locking me up.
Yeah.
I got
I
you.
think she was like not smart. I think she probably maybe saw some stuff. But I don't know necessarily if the devil made her do it. I think she was just like, mad at her family and tired of being bullied, and she kept getting away with it, so why not?
She knew enough to know between right and wrong, is
Yeah.
what you're saying from your research.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So the trial started on May 4th, and it was like the event. Hundreds of spectators started showing up early, even to get good seats. Like,
And they didn't have no air conditioning back then.
No.
Can you imagine?
They was out there in the heat.
they brought lunch.
Oh.
They brought lunch
would have had me a little picnic blanket
to make sure they didn't lose their seats.
ready to see her walk
Yeah.
through the door.
The trial lasted 10 days, hundreds of people inside, hundreds of people outside wanting to hear what's going on. A lot of doctors and people testified on her mental state for her behalf. There was even a doctor crying, saying, please find her insane. But the prosecutors said that her actions prove she wasn't insane,
Yeah.
knowing the right from wrong. And the jury ended up deliberating for 58 minutes. And on May 13th, 7 women and 5 men found her guilty, and she was given life. And she went to Marysville, which is a very famous prison in Ohio. And she was put in charge of the animals, and she liked that, and she did really well, and she became known as the best laundress in Maryville.
Did she kill the animals?
No, she was in charge of the ducks and the chickens, and she did really, really well taking care of them. She was really happy doing it.
She just needed some structure and guidance in
Right?
her life.
Exactly.
I mean, not to say that like she looked like an animal, but like maybe they were her. That was her people.
She did,
That was her
actually.
group.
She was an
That was-
unfortunate looking
Yeah, like
woman. I'll show a picture
I feel
soon.
pretty around you guys.
I will show a picture, actually.
Oh my God, I can't wait for this.
I feel like I'm in school, and here we go with our show and tell.
So let's see. Is that a man?
No, I'm going to show it to you, too. I'll bring it over, too.
No.
If you want to
Can you
pass
catch
the
the
book
book?
Yeah,
around.
pass
Can you
it
catch
ar-
it?
Please don't.
I know. I don't want to.
Pass that around and
Yeah.
We'll sit on this
This
second.
It's the first.
The top one.
Yeah. Yeah, best laundress in Marysville.
Oh,
getting
no.
up there. And in 1962, she was actually paroled. She
hold
was-
on one sec. Hold
Yeah.
on.
That's
She's
worse
in
than
her
rob a marble.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, fortunate looking woman.
That's a handsome woman.
Yeah, that is.
That's a handsome woman
That's
right there.
That's a handsome
Some
woman
strong
right there.
features.
Y'all know I'm not good at this. Okay.
Some strong features.
She is delightful.
Yes.
Oh, look, she's on the front of this book right here.
Yep.
There's
Yes,
another.
indeed.
That haircut did not help.
Ooh, she just talk about resting bitch face right there. Okay.
And it's really sad because in 1962, she was actually paroled and she was 79 and nobody wanted her. She couldn't go to a halfway house. She couldn't, hold on for it. She couldn't, like, no family wanted her in. There was a boarding house, but the lady wouldn't take her, saying, I'm a caterer. This is a small town. Absolutely, I would lose my business. So she ended up spending her one and only night away from the prison on the at the like officer's house, her parole officer.
Yeah.
And they took her back the next day, and she lived the rest of her life out in Marysville and died there on June 28th, 1971.
My God, 71.
Yeah, she lived a very long life.
I wonder, and maybe you know, but like when she was brought back, did they kind of let her come and go if she wanted to, or was she still considered a prisoner?
She was still considered a prisoner. What they did, I guess, is there's like certain times, there's cases where like if somebody's been like granted parole, they can take it back or something like that. But so they just like recanted her parole and continued to give her life. But I'm sure they she was, she had a good job in the library. She probably got to go back to her animals and stuff. So and after
That's
a certain point, I mean, even like the strongest mentally going into prison after that many years, you're gonna get institutionalized. You do not know how to live out.
Function.
Yeah.
I mean, she couldn't really function in society
No,
to
she
begin
couldn't.
with.
Right away.
So.
No, just walking around at night barking and setting fires is not how to serve your community.
really-
She
Like,
said, "No,
was
I want to
she-
wash my drawers in my toilet."
Was she really this nuts, or did she like just? I'm gonna walk around barking tonight, so people think I'm crazy. I'm gonna go bark at the neighbors. I'm gonna go bark at the neighbors real quick.
a lot of some of like the foaming at the mouth and things like that
I mean,
were
right.
the epilepsy and the barking like a dog. I think she just did that to be weird.
They put her in a role and she played it.
There was also like so many people that testified at her trial about like against her, saying that she was, she was crazy, but no, she was crazy, but like, she was kind of a menace. And they even had like some of the ex-guys that she was coming up there talking about how like when they were together, she would bark like a dog, which is probably so humiliating.
I mean,
like she's got everybody up there talking about like what a simpleton she is, and she's, they definitely some developmental issues. So
yeah,
you got the whole town. You got the whole town being like, it's not her fault,
right?
she ain't there. It's not her fault.
But and they did end up figuring out that her husband Albert was poisoned as well.
At least, at least they didn't hang someone who may have been questionable, or it wasn't clear if she truly was mentally ill or not. I'd hate for that too.
And it sounds like her family sucks, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
that was an awesome story. Thank you for working so hard on that.
You're welcome. And I hope you enjoy your book.
And I get to keep the book.
You absolutely
I'm
do.
so excited. Let's see. The book is called Women Behaving Badly, Cleveland's Most. Not a book about anything but Cleveland's most.
Why would you want to know anything besides Cleveland?
Ferocious female killers.
They've clearly got enough to have a book.
Exactly.
So.
Wow.
We do it right.
16 strange but true tales. Wow. Thank you so much.
A little light reading for you.
You know me. I fall asleep to
bedtime reading.
Yeah, I fall asleep to like Criminal Minds and shit like that. So. And if y'all enjoyed that story, please go to Patreon, Patreon/grits, and support the show. I believe I mentioned last time we had a new Patreon member, Amy, and trying to think of nobody's new this week, but if you do join, you're going to get early episodes and stickers. Depending on what level you join, you might get bonus content. So please go help support the show. And as these ladies can attest, I have a lot of equipment in here, and it's quite a hot mess right now because we're trying to redo everything.
A lot of wires.
It's going to be fabulous.
Yes, it looks like, it looks like Martha did all my wiring.
Martha just came in and be like, it's fine. It works. Trust me. God told me.
Can I light that on fire?
Look, if you just strike this wire right here.
I get it, though, because honestly, man, there's sometimes I wake up and I feel like DMX and I just want to be barking at people, too.
Intrusive thoughts, people. Intrusive thoughts. Everybody got them.
Well, I hope y'all come back and do this again.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything y'all got to say before it's over? We love y'all. Tell your mom and them to listen. We're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.